Hello, welcome to more of me learning Haskell by live streaming it. I'm going to keep working on GaradoLang today. This is a very simple programming language that lets you put functions into a pipeline and then just pass the result of each function to the next step in the pipe. Plan for today is really to do some tidy up. There was last week I had some types, but when I implemented it, since I finished streaming last week, I thought actually I want to improve a bit of that, so I'm going to change that. And then I want to look at error handling, not error handling in the language itself, but error handling in the interpreter. So that's the plan. I'm just going to do a quick recap of where I've gone up to, and then we'll just dive into the code. So I wrote some fancy markdown. I hope everyone's very impressed. But just to recap where we got to, the general idea is to create these kind of pipelines where you have some initial function which produces some value, and it gets piped into the next function which does something to it, and then it gets piped into the next function which again modifies the previous value. And it was sort of designed to replace this sort of procedural step-by-step, take something, assign it to a variable, and then run another function, assign to a variable, and then run another function on that variable. First week we wrote the parser. The parser is really simple. We have expressions which are either a call, so that's calling a function like this, or it's a pipe. And the pipe consists of a call, so the thing on the left-hand side, and then another expression which can be either just another call, or in this case it's another pipe, which consists of a call and then another expression, and then this final expression is just it's a single call. Sorry. So we wrote that, then we wrote the interpreter for that, which basically just takes a pipe, calls the first thing, gets the value, passes it into the next expression. All very simple. And then finally last week I added another type. So in this example up here, the UID thing, it's all just strings going to something that takes a string, returns a string, and then goes to something that takes a string, returns a string. And I looked at throwing in another type just to make things more awkward. So I don't have current time, but I got something kind of similar which generates a time and parses a time, and passes it to something which extracts part of that time. So if you pass a time into another time, or like a function that expects a time, function produces a time, passes into one that expects a time, that should all be fine. But if you do something that creates a time and passes it into something that expects a string, this should blow up, and it kind of does, but not in a very tidy way. So that's where I've gotten up to. It works, I think. So we only have time parsing. I don't know what we do with it. Does this even work? Bad time format. Oh, here we go. Sorry. Do you have anything more useful in my history? That one should be okay, right? Yeah, that parses the time. Okay. I wonder if I've got anything more useful in here. So what functions have we got? We only have parse time. We don't have anything that takes the time yet. Okay, if I try and parse a time and then pipe it into something which expects a string, so something like I'm going to strip out, let's say, all the dashes from there. Oops. This should just fail, but it fails with undefined, and that's not cool. So that's basically just not matching anything. When I call the function, I match the type that this expects. So this expects a text value, but this parsing returns a time value. So this case does not match. It means it eventually falls through to here and hits undefined. I want to get rid of undefined, and I want to do some sort of better error descriptions, I guess. And then ultimately, instead of returning a value from here, I want to return either some error or value, and that'll bubble up to here and then bubble up to run. That'll be lovely. Before I do that, I want to tidy something up from last week. So I wrote this value to represent the types. Maybe it's not the best name actually, but we're going to say it's either a value of type text or a value of type time, which is fine. And then when I call it for the first time, there is nothing to pass in. So the function UUID in this example doesn't take any input value. So you kind of call it with void, I guess. But I represented that by using a maybe type. So initially, there is no value in the previous stage of the pipeline. And then we represent it with this maybe value inside here. And then in the functions themselves, let me just center that a bit. Functions themselves, they are pattern matching against both the maybe type, in this case the maybe type here, and also the value type that we're passing in. And it occurred to me, basically as soon as we stopped streaming last week, that that's unnecessary. We could actually represent void in here, or no value, or something like that. We can put something into our value type which represents the absence of a value. And then down here, we don't need to pass it in as type maybe. We just pass it in as value. But we'll pass in void to there. And then we can get rid of a whole bunch of justs. So this expects, instead of nothing, it should expect void. Here we can just drop the just out. And parse time also expects void. And then we can get rid of that. Okay, and then those are the only places we have it, I think. Cool. I'm just going to check that still works. So cabal test, I guess. That's cool. So that passes. It just removes a maybe that was annoying me a little bit. I will just commit that. So that's adding the void. So it's add void type. Remove unnecessary maybe. Okay. Right. The other thing is, then when I ran the tests, there were some complaints because of this undefined, and it's probably undefined in other places. And in my cabal file, in my options, I have warnings enabled, but I'm not treating them as errors. And really, I want to do this. But in order to do that, I need to stop using undefined and handle errors properly. So that's kind of the main aim for today. So if we go back to interpreter, in fact, if I try and run the test now, they should fail because it won't compile anymore. It actually compiled fine. Oh, it's because I type it in the cabal file. It's error, not errors. Okay, it's better, I think. No, it's actually failed for some other reason. Okay, so my cabal file was not up to date. So interpreter spec is not listed in the tests. Interpreter spec is not the thing I was planning on fixing, but I guess it's a side effect of enabling the errors. So it stops me just having warnings that I ignore. Okay, it says the test suite passed, but that confuses me because if I say cabal build, is that still okay? Okay, apparently the use of undefined is not really a warning. I see, I'm confused. I thought this would have been a compiler warning, but apparently it's not. Okay, I still don't get rid of it though. So let's have a look at getting rid of it. So I want this to be, oops, either, I guess for now we can just put the put an error message into some text. So here and here. Oops, I've got an argument. No, sorry, either text or value. Okay, and now everything's just already broken. Is it also either text or value? Okay. So let's go bit by bit. I'm going to say pure text value, pure of text, oops, text value of that, which is the same as saying write at this point. This failed because, why does this fail? Right, okay. This is the most annoying one. So if we run this, we get back something of type either text or value, and we want to pipe it into, we want to use an argument for go expra. So that's going to be go with the expression filled in, but no, not a value now, it's either text or a value. I think I can just use a function instance for this. Not quite. No, I cannot do that. I was hoping I could just lift it into the result of this, but that's not the case. So this is of type value to either text value, and this is either text or value. I thought that would have been okay. Let me write it out long form. So case this of left error, and then we will just return the error, so it'll be throw error, right, and some value is go expers, and then that value. It's not throw error, it's just throw. Is that right? Exception, control exception throw, I think that's what I want. Okay. And then down here, it's just going to be a lot of pure initially. Okay, at this point, the bad time format, we don't want to error it now, we can throw it. Oh, what does throw expect? I don't think I want throw. Let me stop being lazy, I just write left. That, which means I can then get rid of this. Okay. And now we get rid of the undefined, because now we can say left. And we know what the function is. We don't care about its arguments. And we kind of know what the type is. Some value, I guess, in there. So left, and we can say something like unexpected call to, and then we've got the function itself. With our type, and then we can say type of v. So type of is going to go from a value to some text, and type of text value. We don't care about the argument. Is text value. It feels like the kind of thing it should derive for me. Maybe there's a way of doing this. Type of time value. And then we'll say it's a time value. And then type of void is void. Okay, so we should have a slightly better argument now when we call it with something nonsense. So we just pipe in, well, let me just check we haven't broken anything. Okay, to clean up the output here. UID is fine, and if I just type in some rubbish, so unexpected call to rubbish, the argument of type void, and then I do the time into something that expects a string. It says unexpected call to straight with argument of type time value. So that's kind of cool. It's not perfect yet, but it's a start. Okay. So what else can we do? So we have eithers. We can start to just chain together. Can we? Sometimes a keyboard. I think my keyboard crashed. Hang on a second. I'll just restart my keyboard. Typical thing to have to do. Give it a second. Okay. Strange, unexpected error there. Okay. We parse the input, and this gives us back something of type either text or an expression, I think. I think we should be able to take that and actually just do this with it. Is that right? It does not work. Okay. Right, so what have we got here? The type of parse input is either error bundle, text void, or expression. Ah, okay, and I want to join it with something which is either text expression to value. So either types are not the same, annoyingly. So I'm just going to put it back to where it was. I was hoping to do something clever with the chinning ethers together, but they're not the same type of ether, so I don't think I can do that. But maybe I can do something better about this. So if we get left of error, then instead of returning it as right, we want to return it as an error. So we could say left of show the error. Guess that's okay. Otherwise we value it right. So I think now if I have something that's not parsable, oh, it can parse that. That's unexpected. Anyway, okay, now we show the error, which I guess is okay. Instead of calling show in the error, I think there's something nicer to format it. There is. So parse error bundle. Is it parse error bundle? Yeah, it is. Okay. And there's some helpers to this. Error bundle pretty. No. Where's error pretty? Oh, I thought there was some nice way of showing the error. And here is something about the error. Signaling parser errors. I don't want to signal them. I just want to print them. And it just re-exports this. Okay. I guess we go back to Haskell for seconds. I'm going to go from this, oops, to string, or maybe to text. Hey, Thomas. No, that's not showing me anything useful. Okay. Parse error bundle S is the input type and E is the error type. No. Okay, I'm not finding useful. I'd like something more readable than this. I think there is something for pretty printing the error, but I don't know what it is. Okay, maybe I can come back to that in a second because it's more interesting to look at the errors when we cannot the errors when we can't parse something properly, when the types don't match properly. So if you call the UID but you pass in an argument to it, it kind of says unexpected. It just hits this case. And I wonder if we can make that a bit better. Did the tests run anymore? Oops, I don't think the tests will run because we're passing back different types. Yeah. So in the interpreter spec, these are all broken now. Whoops. Go away, task manager. Here's the error I wanted. Okay, so when you call eval some stuff, it's not going to be time value. It's going to be right of time value expected time. And here it should be right of that, and then right of this. Do the tests now work again? Nope. Okay, so in here, it's not maybe local time. It's now I'm confused. This is okay. First time of this. Oh, expected time. Sorry. Isn't it? Should be something of type local time. No, it is. So the parse time m, we've told it the type of that is parsing something of type maybe local time. And then we destructure it here into just expected time. So expected time at this point should be the time. Because I turned on the errors, so I can't have the non-exhaustive match at this point. Okay, can I fix this? So this is local time. Date time, local time. So one of these should be local time, maybe. Local time, here we go. So local time takes a day and time of day, and day standard count of days. Wow, with 0 being this time. How do we get, has it got a useful constructor? From ordinal date. Looks like what I want. So from ordinal date will take a year and day of the year, oh, it's close enough. And then give me a day. From ordinal date. Compile REPL, these, oh, it's loads, okay. Import data.time.local. What's this? Data time. Is data time? Is that okay? And then it was from ordinal date. Ordinal date. And it takes a year, so that I hope that's just a string. Oh, sorry, a number, and the number of the day offset. Oh goodness. So where are we? How many days are in March? Is it 31? 62, 89, 102. Wait, 102nd day. Wow, not even in scope after all that. This is dated, time, calendar, ordinal date. Can I do it now? There we go. Okay, I was out by 1. Not too bad though. Oh, I probably counted from 1 rather than 0, actually. Or was it the other way around? Okay, so there we have the date part. And the type of this should be of type day. Yep, cool. Okay. So that's the first part, and then time of day has got hour, minute, and seconds. That's picoseconds. So can I, what's this one? This is dated time, local time. Can I say time of day? Yes, I think I can. So we could say 21, 31, 0. Okay, so in theory, I can say local time from ordinal date, and then it was 23, and then 103. And then the second part will be time of day. Let's put it at the top. So 21, 32, 0. Cool. So I can construct a local time that way rather than having to go through parsing it. Okay. I can say let expected time equal that. Legal term level use of type constructor or class local time. Oh, they have imported the constructor. Okay. And then this thing I can import, and time of day I can import, and then I can get rid of the unused imports. And now the times don't match, but I can make them match. Probably easier to do it that way. So it's 21, 32, 0. I hope this works. Oops. Compile tests with a compile REPL. Cool, that now works. Okay, and this is slightly better because I'm not parsing the time twice, so I'm creating a time object, and when I call parse time with the same input, we should get the same time value coming out. I'm going to check it works by breaking the time. So they should now fail. Yep, cool. And it's quite easy to read as well. Okay, so just going back to what we were doing. So we changed the return type of this to be either text, but like some error or value. And I fixed the tests so they cope with it. And then if we go to main, so if there's an error, we could say something like error, I'll put an exclamation mark. That's very exciting, isn't it? question mark, error, and then we'll show the error, otherwise you should result. So if we call this is error, but then we get this horrible error coming out, so we want to fix that. And if we try and pass this into UID, this says left. Why is that the case? Because it should say error and then just this bit. So what am I doing with the error? So here I'm saying if I have an error, just return the error, and then back here. Oh, okay, so it's calling show on the, no, that shouldn't say left though. Oh, sorry, we're just returning eval at this point. Right, okay. So here we could also say case this of, no, but that should be fine. I shouldn't need to do that because we call eval, and if it gets an error, it should be returning the error. So we call it built-in. This should return either the error or some value. So in the case of calling UID with wrong arguments, it should get down to here and return the error as left, so unexpected call. That will then get returned as a result of this call, which was called from a pipe. So that gets called here. So if we had an error, then we just return it again. And that gets returned here. Which should go back to main, which is called run. Oh, it didn't call run. It calls eval and parse. Why is it called run? Okay. Calls run now. Don't know if that makes any difference. Yeah, it does. Okay. So unexpected call to UID with argument of type time value, which is okay, but I wonder if we could do slightly better than that. So what I'd really like it to say, I'd like it to differentiate between type error. So I want something like can't call UID with argument of type text value. I might get rid of value in these bits. And actually, to make it look a bit nicer, well, not nicer, but stand out a bit, doing something special. So what I really want to say is can't call UID with something of type text or time, whatever. So let's add a spec for that. It's type errors. So it type errors, it errors. I don't want errors again. Types error when calling UID with an argument. And then we want to say eval I'm just gonna call run because we have a run helper. So run errors. I'm calling it an argument. So we want to say UID pipe to UID should be left, and then something like unexpected argument. You think of what to call things out, so it's hard, isn't it? Unexpected argument of type is this text? When calling UID. Okay, I'm going to try and make it say that. Okay. It won't. At the moment. It'll say something different. So we go unexpected call to UID with argument of type text. Okay, and then the other case I want is going to be it errors when calling a function that doesn't exist. And in here we can say run rubbish. Oops, the pipe ticked on. There it is. This should be left of we're going to call this like function. Unrecognized function. Something like that. Or actually exactly that. And this fails with, yep, unexpected call to rubbish with argument of type void. And this is really the thing I want to avoid. This is not a type error. This is a function doesn't exist error. Whereas up here, this is a type error. Maybe one more. Errors when passing the wrong type. So here we can call parse time. That should be close enough. So we're going to call parse time with this string. Okay, the notes at the end. So running that and then piping the input into stripping out dashes. That's right. Should be left. And this is cannot call strip with argument of type time. Just make sure that fills in the right way. Can call strip with type time. Yep. So this, I think this is clear. It's a type error, whereas this is something went wrong error. This is no arguments. Okay, let's make that work if we can. So up here, I just want to create a type of this, and this is going to be eval result. And here we can say it's either text or value. And then this will be eval result. Oh, I don't want them all to the back. These will all be of type eval result. Okay, and the reason for that is I now want to change this. So it's either going to be an eval error or a value. You can say data eval error is, so this is unrecognized command, and we'll take some text which is named as a command that we don't recognize, or unexpected arg, and will that take any text? Yeah, I think so. And that's going to be, again, the name, this time it's going to be the name of the function which did not expect an argument. And then we can have incorrect type, incorrect argument type. And that's going to take the name of the function and the unexpected type. Actually, maybe we can take 3 texts. So expected and the one that you're given. Deriving stock show and equal. Okay, and then what? Then we're not going to derive show. We're going to write it out. So instance show eval error where show of unrecognized, just fill in for me, command, and the command name is this thing that I wrote before. So in the spec, what they say should be unrecognized function. Unrecognized function. And Let's write there, help this called quote C. Show is not visible method. Class show, what is it? No explicit implementation of shows prec or show.show. But when I said show, it's not a visible method of class show. What is this show? I'm confused now. No explicit implementation for either this or this. What show is this? Oh, there's prelude.show. That's what it is. Okay. This. Would that work? Say show.show. No, doesn't like that. Is this the thing I want? So I haven't written quote yet. And non-exhaustive. Okay, that's looking happier. Where quote X is backtick, and then X, and then another backtick. Can I not have where in an instance? I can, I just need to indent it properly. Okay. Right, that was the first one. Show unexpected arg to some command, and then something like, I can't remember what it was, but function quote C does not take any arguments. That's not quite what I wrote before, but I can go and fix that. And then the other case we have is incorrect archetype, and that takes the name of the command, the expected and the actual. Unexpected argument when calling quote C. I'm going to make quote visible to everyone to silence some of those errors. quote goes from text to text. Okay. Max, oh, it expects to be a string, for goodness sake. Do that. Unpack that. Okay. Sorry, anyway. Input argument calling, name of the command, and then we can maybe say something like expected E but got, and then T dot unpack A. Okay, all of that. Right, so now we need to return the right type of error at the right place. So what I'm thinking we could do is fix all these things as we go. Right, this either thing, it occurred to me I should write it with a do. That's how I did this before. So we got, after we parse the input, we should get expressions, or an expression, I guess. And that comes from parse input. And then we can say case eval expr of, and if this gives us an error, then we want to show the error. And if we get some result, some value, then we just return that. But again, I can't do this because it's returning the wrong type. Oh, this is going to really annoy me because you're going to have to write nested case statements. So is parse input of left error is left of show error, right expression is, and that's the next case statement. Horrible nesting. I'll come back and pick that later. Okay, down here we can drop the V out because now we're just unrecognized. We should be anyway. And we can just replace this with unrecognized command function. Okay, this one's a bit weird. So I returned an error from the function in the same place as I returned an error from the interpreter itself. So type error. I think this is actually bad practice. I will come back and fix this. I'm interested in fixing this maybe next week. Look at errors inside the pipeline, so errors from functions. But we can just say something like parse time error, but as a successful result. That seems very strange, but anyway. I think I'm surprised that compiled, but anyway, we'll come back to that. fact, what I'm going to do is just make this like a runtime error, so that it'll panic and crash, and then we can go back and fix it next week. That seems more sensible. Okay, so what we left with, we've crashed the language server. Not quite sure how. Okay, we're not using type of yet, but we're also not returning errors properly. So this is just unrecognized command. And now we want to say something like I want to specify this as like expects no arguments. So what would the type of this be? So we've got no args, and it's going to take a value, and it's going to turn an eval result. Not quite. It's going to take a value, it's going to take something that produces a value, and then it's going to return this as an eval result. So no args of void, and then some value is just that value, and no args of anything else, and the value, oh, not quite. Sorry, I also need the name of the function. We don't care what the value is, I don't think, but we do care about the name of the thing. So that we ignore the name in the first case, but in the second case, we want the name, the function name. We ignore the next two arguments, and we return left of unexpected arg, and it takes the function name. So up here, we should be able to say this is no args of the UID and then we don't have much void here, but we might be like that. Okay, so this is saying check the no arguments. If there are, complain about a call to UID, pass in the thing that should be void. Otherwise, this is the value we produce. Okay, and then we can write something called text arg, which again is going to go text to value to, and then a function which goes value to value, and then eval result. And text arg of, we'll do the happy case first. So given some text value b and some function, this is going to be pure function of b. But if we expect a text arg, and we have got the name of the function, instead of calling this fn, I'll just call it n for name. The name of the function and anything else, we don't really care what they are, this is going to be left of, no, I don't want the v because it's one of the arguments. So this is what do I call it? Incorrect arg type. And this takes the name of the function, the expected type, which is going to be text, and the actual type, which is the type of v. Okay. So that error should be it's v at that. Okay. So here we call the strip given some value. We're going to say this is text arg of strip and v, and that is going to be a function which takes x and where did x come in before? Okay, it's got to be prime. I'm going to replace b prime. Oh, this is really awkward, actually. We don't want something that goes from value to value. We want something that goes from text to value. Plain void lambda. Text value of t to replace with x. Of x is the thing. Okay. So now we put this back to where it was. So it's text value, and then we'll pull out the v. Okay. And then I haven't done this, but this is no args. Parse time b, and then this whole thing. Get rid of the pure, and now we've got shadowing going on. So we'll call it t time value. Okay, and we'll run the test. The test will fail because my strings don't align, but we should be getting close to it. Okay, cool. So yeah, I just reworded these to function UID is not taking any arguments. Just slightly better, I think. And then expected argument, I'm calling strip expected text. We've got time. Cool. What I might then do is make these line up just by copying and pasting. You know, why not? So this one works. This should be, it's not unexpected argument calling strip. Argument when calling strip colon So it should be expected text, but got time. And then the other one is a lot shorter, isn't it? Function UID does not take any arguments. Function UID does not take any arguments. Down here, can we go? I'll test again, and it passes, which is cool. Okay, so I think that's a better way of representing the errors. It's more explicit, I guess, of what's gone wrong when saying a thing went wrong. And we have some typed errors coming back as well, which I quite like. Not a big fan of nested case statements. I'm not entirely sure what to say about that. It feels like Rust with the edit types, which are called result, and defining custom error types is common. Yeah, I think defining custom error types in Haskell is common as well. I thought result was maybe in Rust, but maybe is maybe in Rust. But yeah, good on Rust for picking up this pattern. And result is a much better name for either, and this left and right stuff is very weird. Okay, one last thing. I'm just gonna options maybe. Okay, cool. So here where we have a type error, so we parse time we pass into UID, it says function UID does not take any arguments, which is good. And then we can say strip. So we get rid of dashes, and it says unexpected argument calling strip, expected text, but got time. You can maybe make this a bit better, but it's the right type of error. And I think it was rubbish. So I'll just put some rubbish at the start. Or just parse. Unexpected function parse. Cool. Unrecognized function parse. Option is some or none to just or nothing. Yeah, so it's like they took the nice type and they gave it proper names. Because the names are a little bit archaic in Haskell. Okay, cool. So what do we do here? We added some error handling to the interpreter. Interpreter. That's right. Cool. And I'm going to stage this as well. And plan into Markdown. Okay. Git push is broken for some reason. No, it's not. It's working again. Okay. Good. I think I'll leave it there. So, yeah, some error handling in the interpreter itself. Maybe next week I can look at error handling within the individual functions. So, effectively handling this case. Which means I think that the eval result is going to get a little bit funkier. Because I want to carry, I basically want the type of everything in this pipeline to be, I'm going to call it result, I'm going to still Rust's naming, but I want everything in the pipeline to be result of, do you know what the constructors are called in Rust for the result type? So if option is some or none, is Rust error or something? So it's okay or error. Cool. I'll still do those names. but effectively I want everything in the pipeline to be result value. So that either have OK and then value, or have error and then some kind of error. I'm not quite sure what error will be yet. Maybe we'll start with just strings. Cool. Anyway, thank you for watching along, and thank you for the little lesson in Rust. And yeah, hopefully see you all next week. Goodbye.